At Option Genius, we believe that you deserve freedom, financial freedom, so that you have no more worries and more than enough money. Time freedom, so that you could do what you want, when you want to do it. And choice freedom, to live your life on your terms. But the system and Wall Street are. So how do we fight back? Well, my friend, that's what this podcast is all about. My name is Alan Sama, and this is the Option Genius Podcast. Welcome, Genius Nation. Welcome to another edition of the Option Genius Podcast. So glad to have you here. I got to tell you, today I'm going to be talking about something that is near and dear to my heart because, well, I love options. If you can't tell, the guy behind OptionGenius.com, having traded options for OptionGenius.com, having traded options for years and years now, and really, getting out there and evangelizing options and telling people, hey, you know what? You need to be trading options. I do it because they have literally changed my life for the better. And I really feel that they are great for all types of investors. And they're just to retirement if you're going to try to create your financial future and be financially free and, talk about the different types of freedoms that we really aim for at Option Genius. They are, if you're going after those with a gun, right? Well, then options are like a bullet in your gun. You have different, or maybe it's a type of gun. Maybe you have different guns, and options is one of those guns. The stocks are another gun that you have in your arsenal that you can use to blow through any kind of resistance that you have to get to where you're going and to get to what you want in life. And so, I really think that everybody should be out there. They should at least know about options. And if they have a stock portfolio, everybody should be out there. They should at least know about options. And if they have a stock portfolio, if they have an IRA, if they have trading accounts, they should be familiar with options in some degree. They should understand what they are, and they should understand how to use them, even if they're only doing a covered call once in a while, because that extra few percentage. But the problem is that most people out there are being told myths about options. They're being told, or they're giving erroneous information. And so most people lose money with options. And most people are afraid of options because they're told, hey, those things are risky. You better stay away from them. People lose money on those, You better stay away from them. People lose money on those. Why? Why is that out there? It's because there's so much false information. Well, maybe not false exactly to say, but it's been told by people who don't really know the whole story. I mean, you could read any kind of article in most of these magazines that talk about finance, any kind of article in most of these magazines that talk about finance, There's so many of them out there now. But when they talk about alternative investments, or they talk about, ways to make passive income, option selling options, selling premium, none of that is ever discussed because it's taboo. Normal people are not told this stuff. I mean, the rich people, they know about it, okay? You ask anybody who's very wealthy, okay? And I guarantee you that they already know about options. Maybe they don't trade them, but they've heard about them, and they've probably have dabbled in them in the past, And it's crazy, even brokers are in them in the past, and it's crazy, even brokers are like this. And this is what drives me nuts. Let's say you're a new guy, right? You're a new trader, or you've been trading the stocks, or you have an investment account, and you go to your broker and you call up your broker and say, hey, broker guy, I've heard this thing, and you call up your broker and say, hey, broker guy, I've heard this thing. It's a really cool strategy. It's called the naked put. And I want to do that. It sounds interesting. It sounds really cool. I think I can make some money doing that. So can you please go ahead and set up my account so I could do these naked puts? And the broker will be like, well, no, I can't. My money, I want to do what I want to do with my money. Why are you not letting me do this particular trade? Yeah, the broker will be like, well, sir, I'm looking at your account application that you filled in with us when you first opened your account. And it says here that you consider yourself a conservative investor. And so if you are a conservative investor, then by our rules, I cannot let you trade this option strategy because it's a more advanced option strategy and it's very risky and you could lose your money. Well, Mr. Broker Guy, it's my money. And if I want to do it, I should be able to do it. So if that's the only thing that's holding us back, well, then you go ahead, conservative, to speculative, okay? Put me down as a speculator. That's fine, if that's all it takes. Okay, sir, I can change that for you, but then it also says here that you have no experience in options, sir, and for that reason, I'm going to still have to deny you your request. Okay, well, Mr. Broker Guy, your request. Okay, well, Mr. Broker Guy, fine, I don't have experience, that's true. I want to learn. You're not letting me learn. I can't learn unless you let me do it in my account. So what can I do, Mr. Broker Guy? And on a side note, there are ways to get around this as well. But so, Mr. Broker Guy, tell me, what can I do? Well, sir, you can do what's called a covered call. The covered call is an option strategy. We'll let you go ahead and do that. In fact, we let everybody do that. It's a very safe and a very conservative strategy, sir. And you can do that. Let me go ahead and turn that on for you, and you can go ahead and start that, sir. Have fun with that one. Okay, Mr. Broker Guy, so you're not going to let me do the naked... Have fun with that one. Okay, Mr. Broker Guy, so you're not going to let me do the naked put? No, sir, that's correct, but you could do the covered call. Okay, so I can do the covered call, Mr. Broker Guy, but I can't do the naked put. Even though if you look at the risk graph, they both have an almost identical risk graph, where the upside strategies have the exact same risk graph, but I can do one, but the other one is too complicated. I don't understand the question, sir. I'm just a broker. I'll have to turn it over to my manager, sir. Please hold. And that's normally the way it goes with these brokers, right? If your broker is confused, no wonder the whole general population is. If your broker is confused, no wonder the whole general population is confused about this stuff, right? Especially when you have people like Warren Buffett, who's, even though he uses this stuff, he uses options, he uses naked puts a lot, and I'll save that story for another episode, but he tells people, hey, evil, or something like that. That's what he says. And when people hear Warren Buffett, he's a rich guy, right? He made all this money trading stocks. He's like the only guy on the, I don't know, I read this somewhere. He's the only guy on the Fortune rich list who's done it by actually trading stocks, which is also not true. But that's what they say. And so, you know, if he's saying it, then it's probably the true, right? I mean, even look at the word derivative. What the heck is that, right? What is a derivative? Even the word sounds scary, right? I mean, if I ask you, hey, what is the definition of a stock? What is a stock? It's pretty simple. Hey, what is the definition of a stock? What is a stock? It's pretty simple. You know, a stock is, well, it's a piece of a company. You buy a stock, you own part of a company. Boom. Simple to understand. Easy. Anybody off the street, you tell them that definition, they'll get it in 2 seconds, right? But then let me ask you, what is the definition, right? But then let me ask you, what is the definition of an option? So if I asked you, hey, you know what a stock is? What's an option? And I get that question a lot, you know. Hey, Alan, what do you do when I trade options? Oh, options, what is that? Well, sir, the definition, if you pull it up for an option, is that it is a blah, 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 blah. I mean, it goes on for like a paragraph. So that is the definition of an option. There's no easy, quick, 2 or 3 word explanation. And that's another reason why people don't understand it. Because if the definition is so long, then it must be scary, and it must be risky, and it must be something bad, right? Not safe to say options are a complicated topic. And they're made more complicated by the myths that are told about it. And one of the big myths that are told about options is one that I want to cover today. And basically, it says that options were created to make money. And that is completely... What are you saying, Alan? You tell us to trade options to make money. That's the whole podcast. That's the whole option genius thing, right? You're supposed to make money from options. Exactly. But I'm telling you to sell options, not to buy options. Okay, that's the difference. The reason to sell options is that options were created as a way to lose money. Now, let me give you a little background here, so stick with me. Most amateur traders don't realize this, but options were actually created as a way to hedge a position. They were created to act as insurance. Part of the reason the stock market was created as well. Options were first introduced in the commodity space, okay? So imagine you are a farmer, okay? Let's say you're a wheat farmer, and you have to spend all this money to get the feed and to get the supplies and to get the horses or whatever, the donkeys and stuff that they use to plant all the wheat. And then you have to let it grow, make sure you get enough rain, make sure there are no locusts or anything that eat your crop. And then when the wheat is grown, then you have to go and you have to cut it all down or chaff it or whatever it's called. And I'm not a wheat guy, I'm sorry. But you have to harvest it, to take it all the way to the market or get it to the market somehow. And then at that time, then they tell you, hey, you know what? We're going to pay you $5 per bushel of wheat. And then you look at your costs and you're like, wait a minute, it cost me $7 a bushel to grow this wheat and you're only going to give me $5? $11 a bushel to grow this wheat and you're only going to give me $5? Last year the price was $9. And you're saying, well, Mr. Farmer, that's the market price. We had a lot of farmers this year who grew a lot of wheat, so we're oversupplied. And there's not enough demand. Everybody's buying corn this year. You grew wheat. I'm sorry, the prices are just not. Everybody's buying corn this year. You grew wheat. I'm sorry, the prices are just not there. And so as a farmer, you lose $2 a bushel, because you didn't know in advance what the prices were going to be. Right? So that's why they have like futures exchanges. That's why they have options. So go out and you can buy put options on wheat as a hedge against falling prices. So you want to make sure that, you get a certain price for your wheat, and you want to make sure that you have protection as an insurance in case the prices drop. So this way, even if prices drop. So this way, even if price of wheat goes to zero and your crop is totally worthless, it doesn't matter. You still have your put options there and they will make money and make up for the loss. Now, let me give you another example. Let's take a toy manufacturer. Okay, so you manufacture toys. Toy manufacturer. Okay, so you manufacture toys, and most toys are made out of plastic, so you make plastic toys. And as you know, plastic uses oil and gasoline. A lot of oil is used in making plastic. So that is one of your, at a proper price, you have to know how much the toy is going to cost you in advance. And so you need to know what the oil and the gasoline are going to cost you in the future. I mean, if they go up too much, your toys will cost you too much money to produce, and then if you try to sell them for too much, then nobody's going to buy them. So what you do is you buy call options on who's going to buy them. So what you do is you buy call options on oil and gasoline. So that way, even if the prices go up, your options will make money, and you can use that money to offset the higher cost of materials. Okay? Now, in both of these scenarios, what do you want? Okay? Now, in both of these scenarios, what do you want? You want to lose money on your options. You only wanted them as insurance. Nobody ever wants to collect on their insurance, right? Because that means something bad happened. I mean, we have insurance on our houses. We have insurance on our lives. We have insurance on our... You don't want to collect, right? You never want to call the insurance company and say, hey, insurance company, I've been paying my premiums on my car, but my car just got wrecked, so I want some money back. You don't want that because you want to keep the car. You don't want to get into a wreck. You never want to claim on your premiums. It's the same thing here. Options were claim on your premiums. It's the same thing here. Options were created as a way to be insurance, as a hedge, and nobody wants to collect on them. If you're buying them as a hedge, that means something went wrong and you just don't want that. So market makers and other traders are happy to sell side and that the options will most likely expire worthless. So you see, both sides know that the options are going to expire. The buyer knows it and the seller knows it. But it's part of business. It's one of the expenses of running a business that you have to have insurance, right? And both sides are happy with it. The companies, the farmers, all these people, they're happy that that option is there because they can buy insurance. So they can make their life easier. They have peace of mind knowing that they have insurance. And the guy selling the insurance is happy because he's making money and he has a very, very almost a sure thing kind of bet. Right? Money, and he has a very, very almost a sure thing kind of bet, right? So both sides are happy. But then something happened that kind of turned the whole option market on its head. Options were then introduced on stocks. in the hopes of increasing trading and commissions. So now I don't know who first came out with them, but vehicle, right? And so did that pay off for the stock exchanges? Well, you bet they did. I mean, options, volume, and commissions generated by options and fees generated by options. I mean, you look at a chart and the popularity of options just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And the money that is being made by brokers, by stock exchanges, by the commissions, it's crazy. And so they don't mind when people trade. You know, they want trade. They want more trading. The more and more trading, the better. The more liquidity, the better, right? So that's when speculators jumped in. Okay, so speculators tried, if you can buy an option, or if you can buy a stock and it goes from 1 to 100, that's a lot of money. But if you can buy an option and the stock goes from 1 to 100, that's like zillionaire type money, right? And so people started promoting this as a way to get rich, and get rich really, really quickly. So if you ever see an advertisement for a course or a system or a book that's telling you to buy options, they're always going to have that example where they compare it to stocks and say, well, if a stock goes up 10%, you make 10%. But if the stock goes up 10%, you buy the option, you're going to make like 100, 200%. They always have in there because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to sell to your greed to try to get you to understand, wow, I can make so much more money. I got to do this thing. And while it is possible once in a while to hit a home run, over the long term, buying options is a losing game. And I hope that I'm preaching to the choir here. Okay. That's just the way it is. Does that make any sense? Right? Because, you have this instrument, this derivative, right, that costs money, but it is super, super hard to use it to get a payoff. That's why most traders with options lose. Insurance company would come up with, right? Like when you have, when you go for, I've been in accidents before, right, where the insurance company would say, you know what, you're covered for this, but you're not covered for this. Recently, we just had Hurricane Harvey, and there was, the hurricane in Florida, and then the hurricane in Puerto Rico, But the one with Hurricane Harvey here in Houston is that most of the damage was done by flooding. Almost like 90% of the damage was done by flooding. Very little was done by like wind and hail and rain. All the water came in from the flooding, and that's why all the homes were ruined. But your home insurance does not cover flooding. For that, you need a separate flood insurance. Oh, great. Wonderful. And that's definitely something an insurance company would come up with, right? They try to weasel out of paying because that's their business model. They want money from you, but they don't think like an option. To me, that's what it sounds like. You got to be right on the direction. You got to be right on the movement, how much it's going to move, and then you have to be right on the time of the movement. It's so incredibly hard to make money over the long term with options that it's not even really worth it, and that's why we should be selling options. And that's what I use it for, right? In most options that are very, very far away from the money. Now, because of that, most likely the options that I'm selling are probably not being bought by speculators, right? They're probably being bought by hedgers, people who are protecting their positions. Right? And so I'm acting as the insurance compositions, right? And so I'm acting as the insurance company for these folks. I don't know who they are. They might be a hedge fund. It might be a large manufacturer. It might be whoever it is, a mutual fund. But I'm acting as their insurance company. And do you know who owns the largest buildings in most cities? You go to downtown, go to the biggest city. If you live in one, go look at downtown. If you live near one, take a drive to your biggest city. Take a look at the buildings in downtown. Who owns the largest buildings, or who has their names on them? It's going to be the banks, and it's going to be the insurance companies. Even if you take a look at San Francisco, take a look at any picture of San Francisco. Where you see the skyline of San Francisco, and you'll notice that there is this one building that's shaped like a pyramid. It stands out. It's there. It's a tourist attraction. Everybody sees that pyramid building. Everybody sees that pyramid building. That is an insurance company building. Okay? It's iconic. It stands out, and it's a very, very expensive real estate, and it's a very expensive building but the insurance company can afford it. Why? Because of their business model. Okay? It as a way to make money, and the odds are in my favor when I'm trading options. That's what I want to be doing. Got it? I hope that makes sense. Okay. Here's another piece of information that is kept secret. All right. So do you know how Warren Buffett made most of his money? Stocks, right? Stocks, right? Trading stocks, right? That's what everybody says. That's the general story. Yes and no. There's a lot more to the story than that. He actually got really rich, and he did that by buying an insurance company. That is what propelled him into stardom, I guess. You know, that is what gave him the big war chest to go out and buy stocks and start buying companies whole. Until then, all he was a small-time money manager. You know, he had given him his money and he had decent returns, but there was no way he was going to turn into, you know, the second richest man in the world. Or for a while, I think he was the first, the richest man in the world. But if he had kept up that pace, there was no way he was going to get that big. It wasn't until he bought the insurance company did he hold the excess funds of the insurance company available so that he could go out and start buying other companies. Okay? But when he bought the insurance company, this insurance company had millions and millions of dollars just sitting there in its accounts. This is premiums that they had collected, and they had to hold on to it. They couldn't use it, or they had to. That's how an insurance company makes money. So, you know, let's say you go and you buy some life insurance. You give money every month to the insurance company, and the insurance company, you know, is hoping that you don't die for a long time. So basically, when you buy life insurance, you're essentially betting the insurance company that you're going to die, and they're betting against you and saying, "No, sir, you're not going to die. We don't think you're going to die. We'll sell you insurance." Because if they thought you were going to die soon, they wouldn't take your money, right? Crazy business model. And so so the insurance company, and then they invest it. And so Warren Buffett saw this and it's like, wow, man, I could make more money than the insurance company makes. So let me go ahead and buy this distressed insurance company. So he got all the funds, and then he started investing those, and that's how he got really, really big, really fast. Okay? He did it not using his own money. That's not how he got rich. He used other people's money to get rich. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. You know, go ahead and look it up for yourself. Go read his biography. You'll see for yourself. That's how he got started. Really, really big. That's how he grew. So, I mean, that's just another myth out there that we are not told. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, folks. Number one, you know, don't believe everything you hear without investigating for yourself. I think that should be a general rule of life. Unfortunately, it's not always possible because everybody's busy. And so we listen to the news media, and we listen to the articles and the magazines and everything, and some of the stuff. We hope that they're telling us the truth. We hope that they've done their homework, they've investigated it, and we believe it. A lot of the times the people who are reporting it, or the people who are writing the articles in the magazines, whatever, they have their own biases. They have their own, opinions, and so those get interjected in that anyway. But we should always look at both sides anyway. But we should always look at both sides of the story. And number two, options were made to lose money. If you look at the history of options, that's why they were created. That's why they're there. And insurance companies are a great business model. That's number three, right? So that is the case. If you believe in all those three things, then why would you trade in any other way? Why would you have the odds against you? Okay? So, once in a while, if you see an opportunity to use an option to buy it and to make some money, if you think it's going to work out for you, go for it. But over the long term strategy, the long-term income that you have should be doing with selling options. Okay? So trade with the odds in your favor as an option seller. That's it for this episode, folks. I'll have more myths for you coming up in future episodes. And if there is a topic you'd like to hear about, just let me know at help@optiongenius.com. Just email me, help@optiongenius. Trading, folks. Take it easy. All stocks are not created equal. We've analyzed thousands of optionable stocks to find the very best ones to trade options on. Lucky for you, you can just download the list for free. Get it at simonsaysoptions.com/options.com/stocks. Again, that's simonsaysoptions.com/stocks.